ESPN just came out with an article ranking the top rookies after their summer league performances, and Tristan da Silva is being ranked as number 2. We're going to talk about his performances and what led him to get that ranking, and what are realistic expectations for him going into next year on the Orlando Magic. But first, guys, before we get into that and the initial report, make sure to subscribe to the channel over here at Magic Digest. Join the family, join the community, where we talk about a ton of different trades up until the season starts in a couple months. Now, let's get into the report. In an article written by the ESPN staff, they ranked Ware of the Miami Heat at number 1, Da Silva of the Orlando Magic at number 2, and obviously Jalen Tyson, who I just talked about yesterday in a possible trade with the Cavs and the Orlando Magic, at number 3. Now, obviously, I'm not going to fight this ranking too much because Ware had an amazing summer league and he played all 6 games, and the Miami Heat won the summer league championship for whatever that's worth. So obviously he's going to take that top spot. He played plenty of games, played more games, and they won every single game that they played. But what exactly put Tristan da Silva into this spot at number 2 on ESPN's ranking? Well, look, he had an amazing summer league. He averaged just under 18 points per game. He shot 60% from the field and 59% from 3. Those numbers are amazing. They're going to get you some high praise, and that's exactly what the Orlando Magic are looking for. You know, you need that shooter. You want that guy who's willing to step up, take that shot. That's kind of what he was for this summer league team. In the very first game, the Orlando Magic just absolutely destroyed the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was kind of a bit of a coming out party for Jet Howard, Da Silva, and Anthony Black. You know, those 2 guys from last year kind of waiting to make their mark on this year's summer league to try to prove, hey, we're NBA players, we want more minutes. But it was Da Silva who kind of like shined above the rest and shined the brightest. Now then, going into the game against the Pelicans, the Magic fell behind big time, and Anthony Black didn't play well at all. Jet Howard played pretty decently, but it was really Da Silva again who kind of made his mark on the game and had his footprint be the biggest. He scored 23 points in that game, and he had 14 points in the second half. He also had 4 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals, and he kind of like led that comeback, led that charge back into the game, and they were able to win that game. That was something that was impressive. Now, I'm not saying that every summer league game is, win or lose, it feels like, everything's on the line, but to have this team make a comeback victory on the back of Da Silva was actually really impressive. And the guy is a 4-year guy, played 4 years of college basketball for Colorado. You expect him to be better than some of the rookies who are 19 years old, but for him to actually lead the charge in a NBA-ish game has been very impressive. Now, you got to take summer league with a grain of salt. We'll get into that in a second. But that was really impressive. And then he continued to going. He didn't, have a bad third game or anything like that. He continued kind of at like that high level, and he's just been kind of a sponge. And that by that point, he had been getting a lot of praise from everybody, and people were really starting to take notice. I wanted to also mention a couple quotes from Da Silva here. He said, "It's really good getting a sense of playing in an NBA setting with NBA talent around me, obviously." And then he said, "Getting a little feel for my teammates, for the type of offense and the type of defense we like to run. It's been really beneficial." You can kind of just tell when he's out there that he's very, very smart. The game isn't too fast for him. It's not, in a sense, going to be something that he's going to struggle with. You saw him making really good passes and, kind of filling space on the floor and being in the correct lanes and the correct, passing lanes too on defense. You just saw everything from a fundamental standpoint that, checks the boxes of an NBA player. And obviously he's saying this, and we're hearing this from some of the coaches as well, that he's kind of grasping the NBA game and the complexities very quickly. And that's something that, like I said, you want to see from a 4-year guy. Now, where exactly is that going to put him next year? Well, when we take a look kind of at the starting lineup, I don't know if he's going to be in it. I don't know who's going to be the starting center. Is it going to be Isaac, Wendell Carter Jr., maybe even Mo Wagner? I don't know. I know it's not going to be Banchero, or it's not going to be Franz, certainly. So those are going to be the 2 guys at the forward positions. Now, what does the backcourt look like? Well, it probably looks like KCP and Jalen Suggs, right? And I have no issues with that either. So that does leave Tristan da Silva probably not as a starter. that would be my projection, that he's going to be one of the first guys off the bench. Him and Cole Anthony are probably going to be the guys, and depending on what kind of center is going to come off the bench as well, are going to be those main three dudes that are going to be the first people off the bench, right? Especially when you need some scoring and depending on like the matchups and everything game by game, I think he's pretty much penciled in, depending on training camp, that position for himself. He's played too well in this summer league for that not to be the case. Now, Jett Howard also kind of turned some heads, and Jett Howard played pretty well in this summer league. I think his shooting will be very valuable as well, but I think Da Silva kind of separated himself between the young guys. So I think he's above Jett Howard and Anthony Black. And when we take a look at kind of what this team really needed after their Cleveland Cavaliers series, where they got no scoring from anybody outside of Paolo Banchero, including Franz, who we just signed, to a max extension, Da Silva kind of solves that issue. He solves that scoring issue, or would like to think that he can. He, like I said, shot really, really well, 59% from 3, 60% from the floor. That is somebody that you want on your roster to end up scoring you points. You don't want it to be, you don't want him to be out there and he can't score. We've had too many players that we've drafted, too many guys on the court who are too good at defense, can't really score a ton. Tristan da Silva is not going to be that kind of guy. He's going to be a guy who's going to come in and score enough points. Now, I have been kind of, praising him a little bit, and I do recognize that, hey, look, if he's averaging 18, 5, and 3 assists in Summer League, that's not going to correlate exactly to the NBA. So I do need to recognize that also you have to take it with a grain of salt. Guys like Trae Young, you didn't play well in Summer League and ended up being really great. And then, the Lakers team from a few years ago had a ton of NBA guys on it. They won Summer League, but individually they didn't work on the same team. You just got to know and understand that some guys tear up Summer League and they, are kind of slower to the NBA game because it's still a major jump. And other guys who didn't play well or play as consistently as you would have liked them, maybe including Anthony Black, are going to be just fine in the NBA. So that should be noted. But I definitely think that there's a spot in the rotation. I think many Magic fans would be very disappointed if he wasn't a consistent part of the rotation. I think I myself would be in that area. Now, I don't think this means that we are going to make any sort of fast decisions on player personnel, like making any sort of trades. I know we talked about trade yesterday and the day before, just kind of throwing it out there, just having fun, seeing exactly what's being rumored, online and different stuff like that. But I think for the most part, his rise won't exactly affect any sort of player personnel. But definitely think that they hit with this pick. But guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Y'all have been talking to me, and I love to hear it. I love to know y'all's opinion on Tristan da Silva. Were y'all surprised that he played so well in Summer League? Shocked me a little bit, I do have to say. I didn't think he was going to be the second best rookie, second best consensus rookie by many in the national media. I expected him to play well for your guy, but I don't know exactly what I was expecting initially. So has he been surprising y'all, and what do y'all think about his NBA future as far as the immediate playtime that he's going to get to start next season? But that's all the time we have for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll be back next time with some more Orlando Magic basketball news. But until then, see you then.